Yes, guys, welcome back to Chasing Green Arrows. It is Monday, and we have a very special show this evening. I'm Gianni Mattici, today's host. I'm joined by regular co-host Mr. Dean Jones, all the way from San Diego. Dean, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. I'm not used to be on this side of the screen now. I feel very disorientated right now. Flip me over. Don't leave me out on the left wing.
And we're
Hey.
there we go, yeah. And we're also joined by a very special guest, an FPL enthusiast, a Chelsea fan, a global YouTuber, Drog Baba. Welcome to Chasing Green Arrows, mate. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, Gianni. We've been doing better. I've done better, but last 2 months have been really traumatic as a Chelsea fan. So I don't know what to expect from the rest
Only
of
the
the
last
season.
2 months.
Yeah, I mean, I had this hope when we started. The first 19 games were really good. When we were 2 points off Liverpool, and now it's all gone downhill really
Well, the
quickly.
problem was you were using Pochettino's old plans at the start of the season, and the Pochettino ball was working fine. Now it's Maresca ball, and now you're finding out what that's all about. You just keep the ball and don't have shots.
Yeah, I don't know what happens every season. One Everton away trip in December and everything goes down the drain. So I don't know what to expect. But yes, thank you for having me, guys.
Oh, mate, we're delighted to have you on. And in today's show, we are going to talk, of course, about FPL chip strategy. We're going to talk about some differentials that I like the look of off the back of the weekend. We'll, of course, look ahead to the fixtures to come and Wednesday night as well. And we'll talk a little bit about Cole Palmer and Chelsea because Drogba, but for those that don't know, just tell us a little bit about you and your channel. You're a Chelsea fan channel. So just tell us, what does that mean? What sort of content do you produce?
So basically, I try to do all Chelsea watch-alongs, try to cover everything related to Chelsea, but not only Chelsea. I try to cover everything, basically what is out there in terms of football. Not FPL related to. For FPL, we have a different channel, but all things related to football. For example, this week I will be covering the Champions League. Although Chelsea is not in the Champions League, I don't know when we will see Chelsea in the Champions League again, the way things are going right now. And same goes for Man United as well, Dean. So I don't know, but yeah, basically I try to cover everything, and yeah, it's fun. It's good.
Yeah, I love that. I've seen your channel around for ages. You've got 339,000 subscribers. That is absolutely awesome, man. I can't believe you're on here. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us. And I can see from your vids with your heavy Chelsea bias, but of course still touching on key footballing matters. So if you're not already, go and subscribe to Drog Baba. You can just search him on YouTube. He'll be the first account that comes up. And yeah, check him out for more. Mate, how's your FPL season going?
It's been going good actually. I was up to 10K in the world in that after the game week in which Palmer scored 4 goals against Brighton. So luckily I had captained him that week.
Wow, did you?
Yeah.
Not many
so he
did.
was
Not many did.
So he was my captain that week. So I was up to 10K. Then I got a bit overconfident and overzealous. So I made some really interesting decisions. Like I made Liam Delap captain in some of my game weeks. I had gotten Tyler Dibling, but it didn't really work out for me. So I had dropped to 250K. But right now, I stuck to my guns, did the conventional stuff, and back to 90K right now. So currently, I'm on 90K as we speak, and still I've got Salah, who's my captain. He's still to play Aston Villa, and Trent. Unfortunately, Gakpo was also in my team, but he's out. So yeah, expecting to finish around 80K this week. Let's see how it goes.
Solid, man. Good going. Dean and I are sat there going, we got an expert on for once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's trust me, it's guesswork. It's a lot of guesswork and then nothing expertise, nothing of that sort. Trust me, I'm just lucky.
Dean, you make your own luck, don't you?
Yeah, you have to be lucky in this game. I mean, positionally, it's all over the place at the moment. And I haven't played my assistant manager chip, so I knew that this week was going to be one where I'm going to take a hit. And I have. I mean, I've got 45 points at the moment, but I've just had to look at my rank, actually. I've dropped from 400 to 500K. I'm not really at worry because I know I've got that assistant manager chip in my back pocket. And I tell you what, G, that is it 32-33 with the Newcastles is definitely on my agenda. I am not worried that they just got battered by Man City. That's not going to be affecting how I look at that game. I have to say, by the way, Nico Gonzalez for Man City, transformer, his performance for Man City at the weekend, unbelievable. So Man City might now get back to being a better version of themselves. And also, as a result of that, Marmoush, Foden, Haaland, these guys coming back into the game because Man City are going to be good.
Do you know what? I'm just going to send our producer a screen grab of the Man City average position map because I reckon when you guys see that, I love an average position map, but when we show that, you're going to see straight away, just from seeing the passing lines and the average position of each player, there looks like there's an identity to the team straight away before you even see the highlights of the scoreline. And the key is, as you said, it's Nico Gonzalez, the double pivot of him and Gundogan worked a treat. So as soon as we got that, we'll show it on screen in the next couple of minutes. I've just sent it to our producer now.
He was so controlling. Like, I've watched the game twice now. He literally is just dictating where everyone's got to stand. And like Gundogan's constantly looking at him, like, how far away do you want me? And he's like, you come in here, you stay there. He's like, he's only been at the club 2 weeks. He's already like running the place. It's like they've got Pep Guardiola back in the center of midfield because this guy is just like taking it all in his stride. Wow, and it's just like, it changed everything at the weekend. And I know people say Newcastle were abysmal. Like, they're not really going to come across this sort of organisation again. And they still had opportunities. I thought Isak actually did okay, the positions he was getting into. I was still kind of hopeful that he'd get a moment. And it didn't quite happen for Newcastle. But it's not putting me off those double game weeks, mate. Newcastle with the home fixtures as well. I still think that's where I'll be going with my assistant managership.
Okay, nice. I saw enough from City to know, they were very good. But I also think now, because Newcastle got hammered, no one's going to be looking at Isak captain. And they'll all still be looking at Salah captain because Salah's Salah. Salah plays Man City in game week 26. I'm happy backing against him. I'm not saying Salah's not going to get points. I think he probably will. But I think Isak versus Forest, given how Forest defended versus Fulham, and they had, Fulham were good, but Forest were on the ropes. That was never a 2-1. Like, that was, I think Isak is a differential punt. Now, Drogbaba, you love a differential captain choice. You captain Liam Delap. You captain Palmer for those 4 goals. No one was on Palmer that week. I remember it well. Friend of the show, Dean Ashton, former Premier League footballer, he captained Palmer that week. He's the only person I know that did it. What do you make a captaincy game week 26? Are you looking at Salah? Are you looking at Isak?
You gonna hate me for my captaincy pick, but I think it might just work. I'm captaining Ethan Nwaneri against West Ham.
Whoa, that is 4.5 million midfielder, Ethan Nwaneri. God, okay, well, look, let's get to your team in a minute. First, though, let's just chat about City. We've got this average position map up here. Dean, this goes back to what you say. We've seen pass maps from City in the last 2 months, and they've been all over the place. You look at the pass map and go, of course they didn't play well. Look at it. When you look at this pass map, you can see what they're trying to do. You can see play key positions. You can see Gundogan and Nico Gonzalez actually both sitting together rather than just having one. Rodri can be a 1, but normal players can't be a 1. Kovacic can't play that role by himself. Neither can Gundogan. The 2 make sense. Rico Lewis inverting, and then Marmoush proper high.
Yeah, exactly. So Marmoush will definitely benefit from the system. It's also worth bearing in mind here as well, Ederson will go direct. And I can't remember, they did show up the stats on the game of Ederson's like assist record at Man City. I'm like, why do I always overlook him as like a goalkeeping asset? Because he's got that ping in him a couple of times at least a season, right? But it's that build-up play that goes straight through Nico, and then he'll basically assess the situation and decide which way they're going to go. But obviously Marmoush is now going to become a player that is going to be trendy. He's cheap. He's just banged in a hat-trick against one of the best teams in the league. I like him. He definitely didn't suggest he was on the verge of a hat-trick. Like, his 2 games coming into this one weren't showing that much threat. His debut was really good, but we hadn't seen this. But now we're like, oh, this is pretty good. Now, obviously, a couple of tricky games for City coming up, but after that, we're all piling onto Man City assets, aren't we? And like, we assumed it was going to be like a Haaland loving, but now there's somebody else at least to consider there in Marmoush.
Yeah, he's so much cheaper.
So much.
Drogba, what's your take on Marmoush in general? And then we're going to compare this pass map with Chelsea's pass map from the weekend. But talk to us about your thoughts on City. We saw Foden instead of De Bruyne rather than both. The only game Marmoush hasn't started for City since he joined is the first leg against Real Madrid when he went with Foden and De Bruyne. It didn't really work. And I think it feels like it's one or the other. And Marmoush left. Savinho right was brilliant. I mean, City looked good again.
I mean, I think against Real Madrid, he was trying to lock that midfield because I think KDB does that defensive work and he needed that extra assurance in the midfield. That's my guess. That's why he started. But De Bruyne, I think he's not fit. He looks 2 or 3 yards slower than what he does actually. So I think he's not match fit. But yeah, Marmoush made his debut against Chelsea and in that 3-1 win of City. And I was really impressed with him. He was having a very, very good season with Frankfurt also. Like that's why he got everyone's attention in the first place, right? He's a very good player. I think a lot of us can agree that it's not only Rodri's absence, but Julian Alvarez was a big miss for City as well. Like they did not have any goal threat apart from Haaland. When it came to bringing on a striker from the bench or a real goal threat or a guy who can, really add that extra dimension to City's attack. And how Alvarez is doing in Atletico Madrid is for all of us to see. Like he gets the goals, is always involved in that phase of play, is a very, very threatening player when it comes to goal attack. So I feel Marmoush is that kind of, not exactly a similar player, but can be deployed in that role. And what City missed actually, because City became very one-dimensional when they only had Haaland as their lone attacker or a lone striker. They don't really have much options. So only you think you could do is spam crosses inside the box and hope Haaland is at the end of one of those crosses. And because Haaland does not really create something for himself, although I think he had a decent game against Real Madrid.
He was a handful.
Yeah, he was handful, but you don't really see Haaland doing those things which you see of like which we used to see from prime Barclay strikers. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Those kind of strikers used to create something.
He needs
for
service,
themselves.
Haaland, still, doesn't he?
He needs service, and
he's
not a nuisance until the ball is beside him or is in his area or he has to do something with the ball. But I think Alvarez was that player, and Marmoush can replace that or can bring that Alvarez thing back to this City team to an extent. Very good player, very good finisher. I would say like he's a very good finisher. Something that we lack in the modern game. We don't have good finishers. The amount
Chelsea
of high XG.
Nico Jackson. I mean, Dean, we'll go into Chelsea next, but just to reference again your point, Nico Gonzalez, you look at the left-hand side from this between the post graphic, and they're often 5 different players because they're 5 different things. Well, Nico Gonzalez, most passes, most XG chain, most progressive passing, most central ability. Like he's become Rodri in this role, and that's why Pep had to make a move in January. He needed that, and he's got it straight away.
Yeah, we know Pep was in trouble. He has to buy players, doesn't he? He can't coach them. So, but a few people are now asking in the chat, like, is Nico Gonzalez like an FPL pick? No, I don't think so.
No. Just like Rodri's not. I know Rodri started scoring, but
Yeah, like occasionally, of course, he'll get some points. Like he'll spot a pass and he'll get an assist, and maybe he gets the odd goal. I'm not saying that he's the FPL pick. What I'm saying is he opens up opportunities for the top end players, basically. So whether it's Marmoush, whether it's Haaland, whether it's Foden, whether it's Savio, like those guys should now be getting more joy. And actually, potentially City start keeping more clean sheets as well because of the resilience he'll bring to that back line. Like he's a protector. Like obviously in this game, Kusanov plays, and obviously his debut against Chelsea was a disaster. But he's got great pace and he's a good player, but obviously he's got flaws in his game and he needs to be brought up to the levels of the Premier League. And he kind of had a mentor here because Gonzalez talks him through the game. It's like any level of football. When you take a step up, you want someone to talk you through it. And Gonzalez really did that, and he would protect him as well. So I think that that's really interesting in terms of how City are now able to build out. This is something we can revisit later in the week or when we draw up basically who we think our top Man City assets are going to be. But there's no denying that this was Man City's best performance of the season. And from like, in terms of a 1 to 11, every player fulfilled their role. Even Rico Lewis. Even Rico Lewis did all right in this game, mate.
Mate, the fact he's even starting, like only because Akanji's out for 8 to 10 weeks, but with him starting, yeah. When City got the ball, Rico Lewis is fine. It's when City have to defend. That's when it's a problem.
Yeah, and obviously you can see Rico Lewis's average position
It's lovely.
here, and it's like quite literally that's where he stands.
It's Trent. It's Trent, just not as good on the ball.
Yeah, it really is. And look, I'll be honest, I'm not sure that Rico Lewis has a long-term future at Man City. I think they go and buy a right back in the summer, and that'll probably be the end of him in that role. He'll still stay within the squad. I think he's going to be an important player, but Rico Lewis probably turns into an 8, to be honest, in terms of the way that his career builds out from here. So yeah, like Liverpool home next, obviously for Man City, and it's possible that they can start to transform and pick up a good result there. But more than that, I'm looking at the fact that they've got more decent fixtures. Nearly made up a word then. Decenter fixtures after that. Tottenham, Nottingham Forest, but then Brighton, Leicester, Man United, Crystal Palace, Everton. They're the games you want to be targeting for the Man City assets. So once we really are getting to about game week 29, that's when you want to, I think, start to getting towards Man City assets. And obviously, a lot of people still got wild cards to use. Yeah, that's when I would expect City to have a pretty strong end to the season. And it might be plausible, mate, that they even have a better end to the season than a team like Arsenal.
Yeah, well, yeah, they've got a point to prove. Okay, well, look, let's just compare this City team because I think we're all interested in Marmoush, but let's just see the Chelsea pass map because we got to talk to
Drogba about. They're just going like this sideways and backwards.
I mean, it weren't pretty. The average position's even. Like you look at it and go, okay, what was the?
No, it is.
It's so bad.
Mate,
I've what a pass map should look like, and then look at that
on Ranks FC. So, Drogba, I've got a podcast called Ranks FC, and we've literally just recorded before I've done this, and we were just doing the Chelsea section at the end, and I was like, when you're a kid, like when I was a kid, I was about 15. Our coach was Alex Inglethorpe, who is now like the head of the Liverpool academy. He brings through all their kids, and like once we got to be winning about 5 or 6-0. He would kind of stop us from scoring. And he would be like, now keep the ball. Your job is to don't let them touch the ball for the next 5 minutes, right? And that would be like success for the game. Like, don't let the other team touch the ball. What's the longest we can go? And obviously the other team would get rattled and end up kicking you or whatever. But it was fun. And it was more fun than just keep scoring goals. Chelsea do that, but without scoring any goals. Like, what are they doing? This is a massive flaw. Like, not a single shot on target. Yet they've had hundreds and hundreds of passes here, dominated the ball.
Yeah, from Mark Cucurella to Levi Colwill, brilliant.
And there's no threat on goal. Like, what's the point of football? It's to score goals, not to just keep the ball for the sake of keeping it. And it's painful, absolutely painful. I mean, I don't support Chelsea, so obviously don't really care. But I have got Cole Palmer in my FPL team, so I do care a bit. And this was awful, mate. I mean, what do you take away from it? And I guess the big question, do we actually keep Cole Palmer? Because I have to say, I was umming and ahhing on whether to even pick him this week or leave him on the bench. And I don't know. The fixtures make me think I'll probably like stick it out because of the Southampton-Leicester double. But apart from that, I see no reason to keep Cole Palmer.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one. I'll keep Palmer for that Leicester Southampton week. But coming back to the first part of your question, it's just abysmal the way we are playing right now, and no wonder the protest is on for the Southampton game by Chelsea fans. It's a complete shambles. I don't know how to explain this because this stream will end up being a 2-hour stream once I start talking about Chelsea's issues right now. But to keep it simple, just to give you my observation, tactically, obviously there are factors which are much more than just being tactical aspects of the game. Like the mentality is not there, the leaders are not there. All of these players are kids who are playing under an inexperienced manager, to be honest. So don't expect much of these players to begin with. After spending 1.5 billion pounds, the kind of bench that we had against Brighton was abysmal. Like it's a failure on every front from this ownership, but I won't go too much into that. When we talk about the football side of the things, I think we defend really badly against teams who play a back five, and we struggle against those teams. Brighton this game week barely won against West Ham, drew against Everton and Palace. lost against Ipswich, and lost against Fulham. So basically, all these teams play in a back five. So what happens is when we are against a back five, we try to invert that fullback into the midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Hence, our passing patterns become very narrow, as it is visible on the screen. And the teams are really happy to sit in a low block. And once you are without Jackson, even with Jackson, you struggle to score goals. But when you're without Jackson, you basically are playing with 10 men, because Nkunku does not really he does not really care right now, because he was about to be sold in January, and you can see the way he's playing right now. He does not really care, and plus he's not the kind of the striker that Maresca wants, the profile that Maresca wants from his number 9. He needs a Jackson kind of a striker who can play with his back to goal, who can come back into the midfield, can engage those 2-3 midfielders, can make space for the wingers like Sancho on the left, Madueke or Neto, whoever's playing on the right, and Palmer can then free roam. So once Jackson is not there to press from up top, Palmer becomes very ineffective. And Palmer is also looking very frustrated, because he's like, I'm stuck with these bumps right now. I should be playing in the Champions League. What the hell I'm doing right now? And I don't blame him, to be honest. So if you look at the Brighton game, Minte and Weltman were really good. In West Ham game, Van Bissaka was all over our backline. Crystal Palace, Daniel Munoz, Mateta scored goal in that game because of Daniel Munoz. Robinson had a really good game against us when we played Fulham. Wes Burns was really good again in the Ipswich game against us. So it's not a coincidence, right? That the opposition wing backs who are playing, the oppositions who are playing in a back five or a back three, however you want to put it, the wing backs have a really good game against Chelsea. So there's a pattern that I'm noticing, and the manager is being very stubborn, and plus he's being set up to fail. And the thing is that, again, that is really shameful from Chelsea, that after spending this amount of money, you don't really have options from bench to change your system, or the kind of options that manager thinks that he needs to change the way he's playing right now. So it's a mess, bro. It's a mess all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, when Madueke goes off in that game and you bring Sancho on, I mean, I'm not going to defend Sancho because I think he should be able to fill that role, but he doesn't play in the same way, offer the same width and directness, I think, really, that you want from Madueke. I'm not going to bash Sancho right now. I see a lot of people giving him stick in the comments, and I think that's fine. It's Sancho's not living up to the hype, but Chelsea knew there was a chance of that when they signed the guy. Like, he's obviously started quite sharp, but he's clearly got some sort of problem in terms of motivating himself week after week to perform to his top level.
Sorry to cut you off, Dean, but I just want to add here that what happens is when you start failing collectively as a team, it starts to rub off on every player. It's not just Sancho who is performing badly. Levi Colwill has been embarrassing in last 3 to 4 games. Who was having a really good season in the first half of the season.
True.
Chalobah had a couple of good games. He's been average, and that should tell you a lot about a transfer strategy, because the guy who you banished in the under-21s in the preseason, you want to try to sell for pure profit, you have to call him back, beg on your knees to call him back, because Disasi and Badiashile are not the guys for you.
Yeah.
Then Kukurea is having average games, not really bad, but not really great either. The only 2 players that I think are holding it at certain level for Chelsea right now are Enzo and Caicedo, that midfield. Still, I think you can find something. But because Palmer has not been effective, Jackson is a hit and miss, hot and cold, very hot and cold. Has been cold rather than hot in the last few games. So it has started to rub off, and the off-field comments of the managers manager is also not helping. That, okay, I was told that top 4 is not the criteria. The Champions League football was supposed to be achieved next season. So that, I think, brings a sense of complacency in the players as well, that we are allowed to have average performances. Case in point, Robert Sanchez. He knows that he did not have competition, so he was not performing. I don't know what was the reason why he was given this trust from the manager week in, week out after committing those blunders. Same with Jackson also. He knows that he did not have a competition on the bench. It's because of Mark Guiu's injury that Nkunku is playing right now. Nkunku is so lower down the pecking order that Mark Guiu would have been playing these games instead of Nkunku if he would have been fit. So it has rub off on the entire squad, and they think it's okay to have average performances, and we are in a downward spiral now. And things like these stop when you have characters, when you have leaders, when you have experience in the team, which Chelsea clearly don't have right now.
Yeah, well summarized. I think that's brilliant info, and you're bang on. And from an FPL perspective, You keep Cole Palmer. You probably don't buy him if you don't own him, but you definitely don't sell him.
But for 2 weeks at least, if you have him,
it's just
please
those
keep
two
him.
fixtures. We will dominate the ball versus Southampton and Leicester, and they could be 3-0 wins. But if you've got an Everton, if you've got a Chelsea defender, I'd be tempted even to sell with those two fixtures. I could see Chelsea conceding. Loads of amazing comments in the chat. We haven't got time to bring them all up. We will flash some up every now and then. But look, CH, my favourite comment so far was, turn this around 90 degrees and you get an all right pass map. And that's about as good as it gets. And you could turn it 90 degrees either way and it would be better. So it's a fair observation from CH. All right, let's move on. We're going to talk a little bit about some chip strategy, and we want to talk about all of our teams, and we want to show Drogba's team moving forward. So before we see our teams, let's just have a quick look at some tips and chips from the players that really did well over the weekend with regards to bonus beasts. There we go. So I wanted to pick out a couple of differentials. Mbeumo's brilliant. Visser's brilliant. They're both better FPL options than Kevin Schade, but they're not 5.1. Kevin Schade is. He's a midfielder at 0.8% ownership. When Brentford play a back five, often against good teams like Man City and Liverpool 4 or 5 weeks ago, they play a top two of Visser and Mbeumo, and Schade misses out. They play Lewis Potter as a wing back. When they play back four, which is what they've played in the last 3 games and what they'll play against Leicester, Everton, Villa, Bournemouth, Kevin Schade gets in. And when Kevin Schade's in the team, he's actually quite exciting. His numbers were really good at the weekend. I mean, Dean, you watch a bit of Brentford. Like, what do you make of Kevin Schade? People forget, like, this is a guy that I think he's played for Germany. Like, he's still young. He was wanted by, I think, linked with Dortmund in the January window. His shot map was good. He hit the post. He scored a goal. But most importantly, he's 5.1. Like, it's great differential.
Yeah, I mean, he's a decent differential for sure. And Brentford do have a couple of nice games coming up. So I think that there's some scope. The problem is you're always going to want Mbeumo or Visser or both if you're going with Brentford. That's where most
they are better.
They're better, and that's where the most likely goals are going to come from in some shape or form. I don't ever want to go too heavy on Brentford either. Like, I don't want to end up having 3 Brentford assets. So I think that that's probably the most off-putting aspect to it. But outside of those two, if you just wanted a Brentford asset to bring in, then I think that it's worthwhile. But he's certainly more of a left field pick and a gamble than something you should be relying on.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Drogba, with Brentford in general? Like, tell us what your take on, Mbeumo, Visser, but Schade is too.
If I talk about myself, currently I have Mbeumo in my team, so I don't really think that I should double up on Brentford. Again, I agree with what Dean said. Like, if you have Visser or Mbeumo or both, then no need of getting in Kevin Schade. But if you want to get one Brentford player in and you've got a really tight budget, so he's a really good pick for that amount of money, I guess.
Yeah, okay. Let's move on away from Schade. I've picked out another 1 or 2. I mean, we've spoken about Marmoush at length already. So we'll just show his graphic. Like, it was 4 shots, 3 goals. You're not going to get that a lot. Doku came on. We have seen him always subbed off. He doesn't play 90, but that's because he's still getting up to full speed in this City team. Also, you're probably now resting him against Newcastle, thinking we want you fresh for Real Madrid. But he is obviously, you'd be seen as our average pass map. We've spoken about the fixtures. The ownership will continue to go high, not just because he's good and because he's 7.1 and playing for Man City, who are now scoring goals, but there's a huge amount of Egyptians that play FPL. Like, genuinely, we always have to remember the tax of a Man United player and the tax of players from certain countries. And Mo Salah, even if he's playing terribly and he's not in any experts teams, he'll still be in a load of teams because he's Mo Salah and he's got a huge loyal fan base from a country that's heavily invested in FPL. Marmoush will be similar. So there'll be a bit of a Egyptian tax, but it's not quite as heavy as a Man United tax. You do really feel that with Man United players.
Egyptian tax is not something I've ever heard of, but I like it a lot.
When you look at the most engaged countries in FPL, it's something like, and let us know in the chat what you think, but it's something like England or UK, USA, India. I think they're the top 3. Right. But then you go to, like, I think Egypt's a top 5. And the Scandi
doesn't surprise me. I love football, and like now they've got 2 players that are smashing it up in the Premier League. Then then why not? Marmoush is somebody I definitely expect to become more heavily owned, not just in Egypt, but worldwide. He is extremely good. And at 7 million, like that's obviously very good value when you consider that we're getting potentially the best version of Man City now that we are going to see all season. So from 29 on, like you could expect City to just go hard, especially down that home straight, mate. They've got a spell coming up. Like obviously, I'm going to be a bit careful about predicting like what happens at Old Trafford and game week 31 because who knows in a derby. But after that, their stretch of games down to like end the season with some respect and credibility. Palace home, Everton away, Villa home, Wolves home, Southampton away, Bournemouth home, Fulham away. Like, mate, they could just go crazy through that spell if they have all of these players available to them, others coming back from injury. I just think that Marmoush, as part of that, could become a player that's probably owned. I reckon he'll get up to about 20%. That would be my prediction, 20-25% ownership by the time we're getting down to that stroke.
You're right, it will be. No, you will. Especially if he scores against Liverpool, it will skyrocket because then the fixtures really turn.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the Real Madrid game. I expect he obviously starts. It won't be De Bruyne and Foden again. We've got one more player I picked out. Again, 3 bonus points. I think worth all these 3 guys. Yeah, Minter. I think he got 3. Drogba, you watched this game in detail. Oh, we lost you for a sec. Have we lost him? Yeah.
He's had enough, mate. He's had enough.
So
Dave, you cut short. Dave, you cut short. Didn't want to talk Chelsea.
Yeah, I like Minter, and I like a punt on Brighton. But
mate, I had him like start of the season. Like he was one of my big picks, I think. Like coming into the season,
he was amazing last year, wasn't he?
Watching the pre-season games and stuff like that, and you're like trying to figure out the formations and who's starting, and pretty sure that he was in my mix. He obviously hasn't done it this season, but a very, very strong performance, and really showing the sort of agile nature of his play that makes him so tricky. And that's what I love about him. Obviously, Brighton. I don't know that Chelsea's their biggest game of the season, right? Like they set out every season to beat Chelsea because they earn a lot of money from players impressing against Chelsea. They look at it as a key game. And I'm not even joking. Like they know that they set out the season, and one of the tasks for the manager is to beat Chelsea. And they've done it. So I don't know whether we can expect Brighton to carry this on, but I mean the fact they've got Southampton next gives them a chance because they're absolutely terrible.
Apologies,
and they got
browser crashed.
No worries, man. And then Bournemouth up next after that, followed by Fulham. So it's not a bad run of games for Brighton. I don't know that beyond padding out your squad with him, you're going to be expecting too much. Like if you're going to pad out your squad and play a bench boost at some point in the next few weeks, then maybe it's a good option.
Yeah, exactly. And look, let's talk a little bit about chip strategy. I've just got a graphic to show you. This is fixture ticker. I think a lot of it's probably been taken by Ben Crellin's predictions, but FPL Mate does that in his own right too. And he's designed a really nice looking ticker that I just wanted to show. So this helps those that are looking at a chip strategy. I mean, in brief, what the template chip strategy will be. And Drogba, you can tell us what you're thinking with your chip strategy. But the vast majority that have all their chips will be, or certainly their free hit, their bench boost, and their wild card, and I include myself in that. They'll dead end to 29. They'll look at game week 29 and say, I want to get that week over and done with without a free hit. Because yes, it's Villa, Palace, Liverpool, and Newcastle at blank, but I can still get 10 or 11 players out in 29. But because I've done that, I'm probably dead ending my team because I might have to sell some good players from Liverpool or Newcastle. So because of that, I'll be wildcarding in 30 or 31. That then sets me up for the doubles that will come in 32 and 3. Now, we know about the doubles in 32. It's Palace and Newcastle doubling. But after game week 29, I think around game week 30, we'll know about the 33 doubles. So if you wildcard knowing what the 33 doubles are, you can wildcard and make sure you've got a 15-man squad that all play twice in 33, and you can then bench boost in 33. 34 will be a blank, and the blank in 34, the teams to blank will probably double in 36. So to have a good team in 34 and 36, you probably need either a wild card or a free hit, because if your team's good for one of those weeks, it won't be good for the other unless you can use a chip on it. So with that in mind, the template strategy will be dead end 29, wildcard 30, 31, bench boost 33 with 15 players playing twice. And then in 34 or 6, you can use your free hit in one of those weeks. If you've still got your triple captain, then you can use it in a double 32, or you can use it in 36 if you're not free hitting then. And if you've still got your assistant manager chip like Dean, well, you're going to get double in 32 and 33.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah,
which means you can't bench boost then, but you can bench boost later in 30.
Well, I bench boosted already, didn't I? I kind of countered you last week with that
which
one.
Is quite nice in a way, because it doesn't give you the headache of going, is it assistant manager or bench boost? For you, it's just going to be assistant manager. So that feels quite nice. I mean, Drogbaba, what are you thinking of doing with your chips, and which chips you still got to play? We'll see your team in a second.
So I have played triple captain and bench boost already. I triple captain Salah last week, so it was a really good move. Bench boost, I had this stupid bet with one of my friends, so I had played it in game week 10, so could ignore that. And bench boost has never worked for me in 10 years of playing FPL, so I really don't consider that chip very important. I don't know why in double game week also it doesn't work for me. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that assistant manager chip now, because we know what the doubles will be, and I've got a free hit and a wild card, so can use either or depending on how the team is looking right now and what are the teams who are blanking. So I'm really excited about my assistant manager chip, because it is a first for everyone, right? And most of the people have used it in the last game week, because it was a double game week, and still it is in operation right now. So that is what I'm going to do. In the big blank, I think I'll play the free hit wild card just before the double game week again, and let's see how the assistant manager. Then I have to really think about how to use the assistant manager chip. I think I'll do the assistant manager in the board doubles, but then I will have to take a look at the team. It's a paradoxical situation right now.
Yeah, fair play. Let us know in the chat what you're thinking to do with your chips. I mean, it's great that so many will be on different strategies. There is no right and wrong way of playing it. But look, we've only got 20 minutes left. Before we go, guys, we want to see all our teams. And yeah, we're going to take down the chart. I think there might be a few Wi-Fi issues our hosting end, hence it's a little bit blurry. But we'll show our teams if we can. If not, we'll go full screen on our faces, which are at least in good picture. Dean, we've not asked anyone to hit those buttons. We would love them to, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think we've got a bit of trauma from a couple of weeks ago, or last week actually, when people started commenting that we spend too much time asking people to press the buttons. I really don't think we do that. I think of all the channels that I watch, I've never known anyone put less emphasis on it for most of the time. One show we decided to ask people to support us. People in the comments got annoyed with it.
I'm guilty of it on my channel. I do it enough to piss people off. I get a lot of, and I have slowed down a bit. But you don't ask, you don't get. But if it's annoying people too much, I do listen. But we don't do it on Chasing Green Arrows, I don't think. And I make a conscious effort. I don't have to on Chasing Green Arrows. I'm not told to. Therefore, I tend not to push it too hard. But yeah, I was surprised at that. Like on my channel, I do a 10 to 15 minute team selection. My videos are all 10 to 15 minutes. I say it 3 times without fail: start, middle, and end. Yeah. And people tell me that's too much. But look, Drogbaba's the expert here.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you build a following of 337 subs? Like how often do you say it in your vids, dude? And how do you call it?
I think I mean you got most of the conventional picks right. I mean you got top 2 out of the top 4 midfielders right there. Palmer.
No, but not your FPL team. Just on likes and subscribes in general. Just how many times do you say in a video, hit the subscribe button or like? And then we'll talk about your expert picks in your team.
I misunderstood your question.
No, you're good.
I do it mostly on the live streams, to be honest, because that is when the chat is really active. So I just try to get them to like the stream and the live content as much as I can, because that then get recommended to a lot of people. And then there's a really good chance that a lot of new traffic gets diverted to your channel. So that is my strategy. But yeah, I do it on every opportunity possible. So because the likes will really help the channel grow. So guys, please, whoever are watching this, like the stream, subscribe to the channel if I haven't. Please do the needful. Help us. Show us some love.
Oh, there we go. I
There you
like
go.
that. Like, Dennis, mate, you could. Oh, thanks, Nathan. Really appreciate that. Yeah, you can let us know like some tips. Like, what else do we need to do? How do we grow the channel? But not just for chasing green arrows.
Give us some business advice. Don't forget about the FPL.
To every other content creator watching now who's thinking, oh, I'm on YouTube. How do I build my following? How do you get 337k subs? Like, what tips have you got in terms of what content creators can do to make their content better to get more likes, more follows, more subs?
Bro, it's a lot of trial and error, to be honest. I still don't have an answer for you what really works and what doesn't. Like on some of the videos, I think, oh, I've made some banger video. It's gonna absolutely blow up. It blows up in my face sometimes. So, and you will think, okay, it's a routine video and not done, not put in much really, I've put in much effort into this video, and that video does really well, and I surprise myself sometimes. Okay, so what just happened there? So still trying to figure out a strategy, but yeah, I mean, my channel grew a lot because of the short content. I guess short form content is really easy for people to watch, and they resonate with that, and it is not very time consuming as well. So that could be one of the strategies, I guess. But still, I really don't have a blueprint. It's still trial and error, and it's an ongoing process.
I appreciate that. We'll be looking at your channel for more advice and tips. When you say short form content, do you mean 60-second reels or 10-minute videos?
60-second reels. 10-minute videos are long form in these days. The kind of attention span that people have right now. So 10-minute video is a long video.
It's about the same attention span I've got for Liverpool at the moment, I think. I'm really annoyed.
Gakpo's not going to play against Villa, is he? Have you seen the news today? He's probably not going to play.
Yeah, and I mean, I now am kind of wish I thought about this more clearly, because Slot is so averse to taking any risks at the moment, right? And that is why Kenyatte, right, has got sat there with 0 points, because he gets that yellow card at the weekend and then gets away with potentially getting a second yellow when he like barges into the guy.
Yeah.
And people are like, should be a second yellow. Gets away with it. And Slot's right, not taking any more chances on that. He's off.
He did the same with Kwanzaa game week 1. At half time, he hooked him. I had Kwanzaa in my team and they kept a clean sheet against Ipswich. Do you remember? Like, he does that. You're right. And the same with the Gakpo injury.
So he's not taking any risks.
We're learning this about him, aren't we?
Liverpool's play, obviously, like, isn't that like rock and roll like Jurgen Klopp's was. And also, he's not as emotional in the games. He just wants to like get them won.
Did you see his handshake in the Merseyside derby? That was pretty emotional.
That was emotional, but that's a different sort of game. But coming through this period, he has managed to. Yeah, Mark says, Dean, you say that about Slot, but his rotation has meant his squad has been the healthiest all season. Yeah, this isn't a criticism of Slot. This is how he manages. Like, he's cautious and careful. If he keeps his squad available, he wins the Premier League. That's all he's got to do from here. Nobody else is managing to do it. So all he's got to do is make sure that, okay, let's not risk Gakpo for this. These 2 games, we could probably get through them. Even if we drop points, I know I've still got Gakpo in full health for the week after. No risks taken. Same with Kenyatte. Take him out of the game, put Kwanzaa in. I know that I've got him for the next game. And now I'm like, okay, I need to remember this for FPL. Like, this guy is taking no risks. And to be honest, that means that I pretty much don't really want any of his assets, because I don't really know where these problems are going to come up game by game. So I'll keep Salah, obviously, because that would be stupid to get rid of him. But beyond that, I may keep Gakpo just because, like, if this injury is cleared up after this game week, then we know that he's got a full bill of health for the game after. But even after that, it might be a case that I don't really fancy Liverpool players anymore. They're not playing particularly well. They're not smashing people. They're not taking teams out of sight anymore. They're just getting games won because that's all that they really have to do. Arsenal have to basically be faultless from here to the end of the season to win the league. Does anyone out there really believe that Arsenal are capable of doing that with their squad limitations right now? I don't think there are many people that would back them to do that. And that's why Liverpool are going to go into it with this mentality now. And so I'm really cautious about it. To be honest, the other Liverpool asset I actually quite like is Alisson because he's just the man's a monster. Like, one-on-one, you don't beat him. He's going to be playing from here out. Obviously,
we've never said that about a goalkeeper, by the way. I can't name a goalkeeper in history where you just can't beat him one-on-one. That's
you can't
nuts.
beat him one-on-one, mate.
The striker has a massive advantage one-on-one, but Alisson seems to convert it, so he's the one with the advantage. It's unbelievable. And look, he's not the best goalkeeper ever for me, Gigi Buffon, but one-on-one, I don't think I've ever seen anyone can get close to Alisson in terms of percentage saves on one-on-ones. It must be through the roof.
The quality of the strike it took to beat him at the weekend was like out of this world. All right. And look, Wolves at the end, they could have nicked a point. Like, Qantas made a good tackle, a good block, and they've kind of got out of there with the 3 points. But I think that's something we'll see more. Liverpool just need to win the league, and they don't need to do it by going and smashing people. So, yeah, I just think we all need to be a little bit wary of that as we look forward now. And yeah, you and I definitely have messed up with this Gakpo pick for this double game week because it's been a bit of a waste. I have to admit, I don't really know what I would have done as an alternate. I wouldn't have picked Luis Diaz. I know I wouldn't have done that because he hadn't been showing the sort of form that suggested that he'd have got a decent points return across this game week. But yeah, that's our next predicament, mate.
Would have been nice. Would have been nice if we knew he was out. Well, look, let's have a look at Drogbubba's team and your points, but also where you're going with it. We'll talk more about mine and Dean's team later in the week. So this is how you're set for game week 26. So to review, you've got Aina, who's been a points machine all season. Kirkez 2. Raya in goal has been sound. Oh, you're looking good. You've got that duo up top of Isak and Wood, who have just both been so reliable. You're probably going to be benching Gakpo. Yeah, talk us through it. How you set?
So Isak and Wood are playing each other, so that's a bummer. Because I think it is going to be a cagey game. I don't think so. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Forest versus Newcastle.
We'll talk about that in a sec once you're done, because I reckon captaincy on Isak is a big one this week. I quite like it, but carry on.
And so basically, I made one bold change. I had Dibbling as a fodder on my bench, so was not really going anywhere with him. So why not take a chance with Noah Neri? Because see, Salah against Man City, I don't really know with how Man City are going to play. So there are no clear captaincy picks this game week. I think Mbumo could be a choice, but I just want to be that reckless maverick this game week. Just want to see how the differential goes, because I've got this differential now. He will play all the attackers that Arsenal have unavailable right now. So might as well captain him. West Ham are not looking good right now, even with ex-Chelsea legend Graham Potter at the helm. So I don't really think that at Emirates West Ham will upset Arsenal. So I think it might be a good pick. It's a bold move to say the least, but Palmer I don't trust right now, the kind of form Chelsea are in. Mbumo has been hot and cold lately. Isak and Wood, I told you my reservations. Clivert against Wolves is a option I was also considering. Might change it just before the deadline. It's not locked right now. It's just the first draft. Might change my captain based on how my gut is feeling just before the deadline. So basically, it's been a very difficult decision for me to play either Murillo or Aina. But now that they're playing Newcastle, I think Forest might concede a goal. So it's not wise to double up on Forest defense. So that's my strategy for this game week. I think Raya might keep a clean sheet against West Ham. Again, Kluivert, Kerkez have been in really good form for Bournemouth. Wood and Isak have been reliable. Salah is a must pick. Like if you don't have Salah, what are you doing right now? Might as well not play FPL at all if you don't have Salah in your team. So yeah, that's my strategy. I think Haaland being out of form this season has opened all kinds of interesting possibilities this season, because it was either you could have Haaland or you could have Salah. You can't have both and then create a balanced team. So the decision of not bringing in Haaland has helped a lot of players, I believe, this season.
Yeah, you've absolutely called it. I like your team. I think you've got it right with the bench. I like the idea that you're always thinking outside the box for captaincy. I mean, Dean, how do you rate captaincy? And look, we'll do a poll in the chat. Game week 26, early thoughts, captaincy poll, Salah, Isak. And then we'll go other. I don't think there's any other, like, no one's going Palmer because it's Villa away. So, I mean, we could stick Ranieri in the poll, but I don't think many even own it.
Maybe
so
Kluivert against Wolves at home.
Yeah, we could go Salah, Isak, or Bournemouth, or your Bournemouth.
Yeah, like some people might go Bournemouth
because Dango, Semenyo, Kluivert, they're all okay picks. I mean, where are you at, Dean?
I imagine everyone's still going to just stick with Salah because they don't know what else to do.
80% of content creators will be on Salah, maybe more, maybe 90. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think I am.
I don't think I want to. I know I don't want to. I don't think I will. Isak for me is the one that I'll be.
You saw Forest versus Fulham, and you must have
finger over because Isak is so good. He's so good, and what might help is that because he's gone a game week without scoring, people are already dropping him the week before that to like make up for this double game week. This might be a chance to really make up some ground on people, because at the end of the day, like, what is Salah's like? What's the limit of Salah on Man City away? Like,
agreed.
Best that happens is 2 goals, right? Yeah, best that happens is 2 goals. And Isak, home to Nottingham Forest, can certainly manage 2 goals, and I'd say should have a better chance of getting 2 goals, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's even that much of a gamble. So I definitely will consider going there. I don't think there's really anybody else that I'm in my lineup anyway that I'll be tempted by. Honestly, if I was to go somewhere else, I'd probably go like Gabriel against West Ham at home. Like,
that is a clean sheet banker. Isn't it?
It's a clean sheet banker, and he might score from a corner.
1-0 Arteta, that's got written all over it. I mean, Joe Barber, on your Ranieri shout, I feel like whilst he's a good pick in his own right, 'cause he's 4.5 million, sure. I just question Arsenal, like in attack now. There's no Saka and Havertz. It's like they took 81 minutes to break a very bad Leicester team down. Like, that attack isn't functioning that well at the minute. Do you have concerns there with the armband? Because look, West Ham are slightly better than Leicester, and I know, look, they're the home team, Arsenal, and you expect them to win. I think they will win, but I just feel like the ceiling in that team is quite low at the minute in terms of like explosiveness.
I feel Leicester were quite compact in the sense that they were settled in a low block. West Ham try to attack a bit, so they get opened on the space. So they kind of, I think, can give Arsenal a chance, but again, away from home, you're completely right. I agree with you. Like, away from home, they would be really happy. Like, they would take a point before the game, right? So they would be happy, but I don't think so. They set up in that way. They have been really unstable this season. So yeah, hence the gut feeling before the deadline. What I've told you about, I'm really thinking about Kluivert. I want to go with an unconventional pick this game week, because these are the game weeks where you can experiment and can make space for your differential to do the job for you. So I just think that Nwaneri, even if I don't captain him, he's definitely playing this game week because Gakpo is unavailable. Otherwise, Gakpo would have been in the team.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I'd probably, if I was going on Nwaneri or Kluivert, if I was you, I'd probably just go Kluivert for the penalty factor. I think that would probably edge it, knowing that he would step up to take one.
That's why I've kept Palmer as well, because you never know when Chelsea might.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing with Palmer. He will still collect points over the course of the season. Sachin says, Dean, do better if Salah and Isak both score a brace. Who gets more points? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I think Isak's got a better chance of getting 2 goals than Salah.
We know what you meant, mate.
2 goals.
Well, I certainly did. We know there's different points for a forward and a midfielder, guys. We just think that City-Liverpool, after City winning 4-0, could be a tight one. But let's see. Guys, let's just talk briefly about assistant manager. I think we might have a fixture list of the game week 26 fixtures, but I just want to show you which ones where bonus can. We'll bring this one off. I'll show you which ones where bonus is an option, but bonus could be an option. If bonus is an option, you're always the unlikely team to win because you've got to beat a team 5 or draw a team 5 places or more above you. But with the assistant manager chip, there is a reasonable shout with one of the 5 fixtures where you get bonus. But we'll bring this one off now because this isn't the graphic I'm referring to. One of them is Palace. As long as Aston Villa don't beat Liverpool on Wednesday night, Palace go to Fulham. That comes with bonus. This is from FPL Focal, by the way. Palace versus Fulham is the one, I think, that you feel like is a bit of a coin toss. Of course, Leicester, West Ham, Wolves, Ipswich, Southampton, they're the underdogs in those games. Palace Fulham feels pretty 50-50. I'm willing to back Glasner here. We just need, as I mentioned, the others are all locked in. Crystal Palace Fulham isn't locked in. If Villa beat Liverpool, that won't come with bonus. Probably unlikely to happen. I think I might go Glasner.
I mean, it's worth a try. I mean, it's obviously this is the week that's going to be a bit of a gamble. Fulham haven't been that good at home across this season. Just did put in their best display of the season, though. Met by every single player on the pitch was like bang on their game. So if Fulham play like they did at the weekend, they'll beat Crystal Palace. But teams who aren't as good as Crystal Palace have gone to Fulham and got points this season. So it's it usually is a draw. Yeah, Will just says Palace Fulham is always a draw. I think of it and I'm like 2-2. I've been to 2-2s, 1-alls. Yeah, like this game, I'm pretty sure does usually end pretty even. So it's not a bad one.
Draw's fine for bonus. You still get the 5 bonus points with a draw.
You get 5 bonus on the draw. Yeah,
It's what Moisey got against Liverpool, and everyone was happy if you went there. Like, I just feel like this week's going to be really hard for assistant manager chip. You could, of course, back someone that you feel is a banker to win without the bonus, like a Hersler versus Southampton or Arteta versus West Ham. But I fancy chasing that bonus. I mean, Drogbaba, what do you make of the chip? Do you like the idea of it?
Not really sure, to be honest. See, again, it all depends the kind of shape your team is in. Like, would you want to play the free hit or you're looking at wild card? I'll just save my. I'll save my chip, to be honest.
Yeah,
I won't use it right now. I
really got to wait for those doubles.
Yeah, you got to wait for those doubles in any which way. I'm playing Navanery as captain as of now. So that's one bold move enough. I feel that's enough bold moves for this game week.
Love that. Now, good man. Thank you so much. Look, guys, that's all we've got time for tonight. Thank you so much for coming on, though. Like, Drogbaba, if you're not already watching his content, a lot of it on Chelsea, but just football matters in general, go check out his YouTube channel. On the way out, we'd love you to hit those likes and subscribe buttons. We'll be back on Wednesday with Big Man. We'll be back on Friday, me and Dean as well. We'll be a bit of deadline again. But for now, guys, we're probably going to say our goodbyes. Any final notes from you, Dean?
Yeah, I don't think Salah will score 2 goals.
Drogba, any final notes from you?
Just thankful and so grateful for being here. So thank you for calling me. Had a lot of fun and looking forward to meeting you guys again. Thank you so much.
Yeah, mate.
Appreciate
We'd love
that,
to, you know, when Chelsea are an FPL option again, we'd love you back on.
then we'll meet next season.
Yeah, see you next season, mate.
Or the season after that.
With a different manager, no doubt. But yeah, your insight in Chelsea is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'm listening to you going, yeah, I'm a casual fan. You're not. So yeah, guys, thank you so much. Hit all those buttons on the way out, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.